Happy Friday, Bears fans, and welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Tyson Bagent joined David Kaplan on his YouTube channel to talk about what's going on in the offseason, the upcoming season. Caleb Williams in there as well, so we'll get into some of his comments. Plus, there is a new Bears Stadium update. Always an update. It's been a couple months, so you know there's going to be a stadium update. We'll get to both those stories coming up here in just a moment. But we are on the race to 125,000 subscribers. Look at Eagles now coming off that Super Bowl win. We got to stop the bleeding here. Let's pull away here. Let's beat them to 125,000 subs. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Daily free Bears content. And let's take down Eagles now in the sub battle and maybe a little upset on Black Friday this year as well. Okay, Tyson Bagent. By the way, buzz cut Bagent. He's got the he cut the locks off, so he's back to buzz cut Bagent. Joined David Kaplan on his YouTube channel. Discussed a variety of topics. Wanted to hit on a few things here. Starting with this, basically, how would you compare this coaching staff to the last one? Yada yada yada. He said the way they are teaching us what we are responsible for on every play, I think that has been the biggest difference. He puts a lot of the focus on what is our job on the play and how perfect can we do that job each and every play. It's very detail-oriented. All the dots connect, and everything makes sense. He's expecting and demanding, maybe not greatness, but for you to be striving for that. And one that kind of just echoes what we've been hearing a lot of from other players, from Johnson himself, what they're doing in the spring, fundamentals and detail. I'd say those are the two words, fundamentals, detail. Like, those are the two words we're hearing a lot right now, and that's good because we're 4 months away from the season, 2.5 months from training camp. Like, this is the time to really focus in on the details. Like, hey, on this play, it's a 5-step drop. It's a high to low read on a kind of a flood concept on the left side. On this play, it's a little mesh concept. If the open drag is gets free, just throw it on his front hip. Like, this is the time, the footwork. Things as well, which obviously is an emphasis for Caleb Williams this offseason, especially from under center, having not done a lot of it in college. The footwork was choppy last year at times. So harping in on those details and not letting things slip, Shane Waldron, that is something that's been discussed a lot. So glad to hear Bagent echo those sentiments as well. He was also asked about the quarterback room and about Caleb Williams. He said, look, there's an understanding that we're all there so 18, Caleb, can be the best he can be on the field. Hanging out with him this spring, being around him, I can already see jumps from year 1 to year 2, just from a general understanding of what's going on. I think the Bears are pretty fortunate to have this guy because Tyson Bagent, a young guy, he probably has aspirations of being a starting quarterback. And look, I wouldn't respect him if he didn't. That's called being a competitor. But it's pretty rare to have a young, competitive guy who wants to be a starter, but also just has the mental capacity to understand, like, yeah, my main job here is to support the starter. That's what a backup quarterback's job is. No team wants a backup quarterback that's going to create distractions or not be someone who's willing to support the starting quarterback. This guy does both, despite being, 24 years old? So, and by the way, he's pretty talented too. Like, I do think there's a world where he could be a starting quarterback at some point in his career. Probably won't be here, but I think the Bears are pretty lucky to have this guy. He's got the right mindset. He brings energy. If you need him to play, you feel good about it. He went 2-2 as a starter his rookie year when Justin Fields missed a month. So I really like Bagent, and it's going to be interesting to see long-term kind of what his career looks like. Is he here beyond this year? He's going to be a restricted free agent, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out as well. And obviously, Case Keenum being on board, we talked about it at the signing, haven't talked about it much since, but I think it's huge. And especially coming off this ESPN report of all the stuff pre-draft, and then most importantly, with Caleb not having the support with film study that he should have had, Case Keenum, he's going to help in those ways. Like, he's just going to help lead the way with Tyson and Caleb, like showing him things on film and things he's noticing and just sharing his experiences. He's been a starter. He's been a backup. He's been a journeyman. I think especially for like a guy like Tyson. Like, Tyson talked about Case saying, like, yeah, like, what a guy to learn from. And I think he probably sees a lot of himself in Case Keenum. Undrafted guy who fought his way to just stick in the league, got a chance to be a starter in Minnesota, had a lot of success. Now he's kind of been back in this backup phase of his career, but he's 37 years old, still kicking in the league, still making money, still having jobs. And Tyson Bagent probably has a lot of inspiration with that. And for Caleb Williams, which is most important here, having that veteran voice that's not, the coaching's critical, obviously, and important, but to have someone just in that QB room that's been there, that's done that, that's seen it all, I think that's something they missed last year. And, we talked about it. We debated it. Do they need to go sign someone? They tried to kind of do it with Brett Rippon, who's not to the level of a Case Keenum in terms of being around that long. Obviously, Minnesota poached him, and they didn't end up pursuing another veteran. That was probably a mistake. And I think the Bears have corrected that mistake, just like they've corrected a lot of mistakes this offseason when it comes to supporting Caleb Williams. So a couple of things there from Tyson Bagent that I thought I'd give my take on. All right, Colston Loveland jerseys. Go pick them up. Chatsports.com/Loveland. Another weapon that is now for number 18 as well. Rock your 84 jerseys right now. Chatsports.com/Loveland. That link is in the comments and the description of this video to click and shop today. All right, little Bears Stadium update before we get out of here. The Tribune reports that the Bears' focus is pretty much solely on Arlington Heights at this point, which is a shift from Kevin Warren saying the focus is on both Arlington Heights and Chicago. Before that, the focus was just on Chicago, so it's kind of gone from, hey, we're going to build downtown. Oh, we're interested in both Chicago and Arlington Heights. We're mostly interested in Arlington Heights now, so you can kind of see the kind of domino effect here, the significant progress that has been made, which was quoted there. And Kevin Warren has maintained, shovel in the ground in 2025. Well, you got less than 7 months, so clock is ticking. Here is the Bears' statement to the Chicago Tribune on their status. Over the last few months, we have made significant progress with the leaders in Arlington Heights and look forward to continuing to work with state and local leaders on making a transformative economic development project for the region a reality. Another snippet from the article. This is not a statement from the Bears. This is from the Tribune that, quote, the Bears said that they will not seek state funding for the stadium. So we'll see what the details end up being on who's paying for what. I know the Bears have pledged $2 billion. The project will probably cost $4 billion. So whether it's private equity or other, minority ownership, who knows who's going to help fund the rest of that. Taxpayers are obviously going to end up paying a little bit there as well. I think it's pretty clear. Like, until it's done, it's not done, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't Arlington Heights. And I do think Kevin Warren, I think it was probably twofold when he tried to get Chicago back to the table and he launched that rendering last year before the draft. I do think in a perfect world, he wanted to make this work on the lakefront in Chicago. Who wouldn't? It's a beautiful area. Had a blast there last October walking on the lakefront. I would much rather it work out there. But the politics involved, Illinois, Britzker, city officials, it's just, and with you having this 300-acre property in Arlington Heights, it just economically makes more sense for the Bears to go that route. They can own the stadium. They can build, hotels, restaurants, all these things around it. And, for local Chicagoans, kind of stinks to not have it in the city, but this is kind of where it's going. Where there's more land, you can build more around it. You've seen it with a lot of these new stadiums. It's unfortunate, but there's also a lot of benefits to it as well. And, I do think it'll be awesome wherever it is, even if it's not in the city of Chicago. One thing is for sure is I'm kind of exhausted by it all. Like, we're years into this. Like, are you tired of the stadium saga? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Like, I just want it done. Just tell me where it's going to be. And when I see a shovel in the ground, I'll know it's legitimate, because until then, it's just conjecture and leverage playing. And this is what we're doing. No, we're actually doing that. So I hope Warren is able to stick to his word and get this thing started before 2026, because one thing he mentioned last year when they did the Chicago rendering is every year that goes by, basically it costs an extra $150 million to build, because just lumber costs and everything. It's just everything's going up. So, I'm kind of tired of it all. But when there's legitimate new updates, it's my job to pass it along. All right, that's going to do it for Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, my friends. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and bear down.